Agitators and tourists since 2016 have claimed that art is political in the most broad sense of the word, so that they can justify injecting politics into art in the most narrow sense of the word. And many people have noticed this, and many people have tried to resist. But I do want to show you something that I found, and this is from 2018. So you're going to notice why it's a bad idea to inject politics in video game and what people actually mean. So again, like, this was written in 2018, and the reason I'm reading it today is so that you can see how badly any game that injected politics has aged. So when you say I'm so sick of politics in video games, what the person actually means: I'm tired of badly shoehorned reference to the current president of the United States or the 2016 US presidential election that will age like milk. I have seen this in the TV show Arrow. I have seen this in some indie games. Basically, any reference to Donald Trump is not going to be understood by many people today. Like, they may have like a vague resemblance, but it's not going to transmit the same message as if you were to say it in 2016. I don't like to see idiotic swipe jokes at the expense of Richard Spencer or someone like that, because nobody understands what the hell you're talking about unless you're a no-lifer that lives online. You know, good question, like, how many of you do even know who Richard Spencer is today? How many normies actually know? Especially if you want your video game to go international, how many people, like, even get the references? Not many. And as the years go by, even fewer and fewer people will understand it. Do you really need to put into your game so much for the tolerant joke? Your attempt at explaining politics through the writing of your game would be embarrassing for a 16-year-old to write, and you're 30. Holy fucking shit. Yeah, like, a lot of these people, they break the lore, they break the universe, they break everything just to put, like, a political quote in. Like, they may have a character that doesn't behave that way, but he will just stop in order to take a swipe at the president of the United States, even though it makes no sense for the character to do. But again, like, these people politicize everything, and the message is what's important. Like, they want to spread the message, but they just happen to make a video game. I see what you tried to do here, but you categorically failed entirely and only made a half-baked surface-level take. Nice joke. Did John Oliver write it for you? This is, again, like an attack at the comedians in the United States, which now we know they're not even writing their own jokes. Because of the writing strike, many of these late-night comedians have gone on hiatus, which is very interesting. Like, I don't need a writer to write my jokes, and many other YouTubers don't either. Like, even if you were to have a writer, and, you know, you would get, like, a couple of pointers from them, I'm pretty sure that most YouTubers would still continue their show, even if the writer would go on a strike. Why did you say triggered or put an attack helicopter joke in this thing? This is not a Flash game or Newgrounds. What the fuck is wrong with you? So, they're trying to point out that even right-wing politics is a bad take. The Rufflecopter meme, right? Like, if you make a game, let's say back in 2016, and you have the Rufflecopter meme, how many people would still understand it today? Not that many. This transgender character that believes like no actual trans person behaves is actually extremely offensive written, and your attempts at deflecting criticism by accusing your critics and detractors of transphobia and being the outright are reductive and unhelpful. Can I please follow an indie game developer I liked on Twitter without having to be held hostage by their bizarre meltdowns every week? Yeah, like a lot of indie game developers at the time, so we're talking 2016, 2018 era, they would have like the most fringe, far-left, radical takes, and obviously some of their customers would be upset that they would call them out on it, and they would have a meltdown. They would start sharing block lists, they would start attacking people. This is what happens when you put politics into your video game, by the way. Like, politics are divisive by nature, and again, when I'm talking about politics, take into account that they are going to use the broadest definition possible in order to defend the fact that art is political, so that they can inject the most narrow politics possible into their art. And the narrowest political takes are often the most divisive. Which is why you're going to pretty much like spread your consumer base. You're going to have people that disagree, and because these people believe into their politics like a religious person believes in religion, they're going to be very angry and they're going to be very aggressive. And this is not a good take. Now, what's also interesting is that, as many of you know, I do make my own video game, and I actually discussed this with my writers. It's like, we shouldn't put memes into the video game. We shouldn't have like the current event into the video game, because like video games usually take 1 to 2 years to be developed. By that time, most of the memes that are funny today will not be funny in the future. They don't age well. Like, look at some of the games that ended up becoming classics. You know, they may have like some vague political references, or, you know, like you may extract some political messages from them. But most of them don't have that. Like Warcraft 3, for example, right? Like, do the developers want you to support the Democrats or the Republicans? What are their takes on immigration, you know? I mean, sure, maybe there are like some themes, like for example, the orcs were being placed in camps by the human empire and stuff like that. But like, they're not trying to be preachy. They're not trying to send a message to the player. It's just a video game which main purpose is to entertain. And they're not doing like what was popular at the time. Like, imagine if Warcraft 3 had dubstep in it. Just because like dubstep was very popular at the time. That doesn't mean like if you're playing Warcraft 3 now, you would have enjoyed hearing the dubstep. So that's my point. That's what people are talking when they're saying that they are sick in politics in video game. Like, they're sick of the narrow version of politics. They're sick of your preachy attitude. And what absolute idiots here is like, I'm somehow both a Nazi and a coward centrist with no ideals at the same time. It's like, no, I do have many ideals. I do have many political takes. I would prefer not to see them in my game, though. Because, like, when I play video games, I want to get entertainment. That is the main take that I want from it. And while I may enjoy a video game which caters to my personal politics, I don't think that's a good idea. Because every single time you make a video game that would cater to my politics, it would enrage another customer. So why do you want to put yourself in that position? Why do you want to upset other people? Like, your interest as a game developer is to sell your game. Like, the money of a Marxist and the money of a fascist has literally the same value. So you should just like focus on not pissing off the left, not pissing off the right. Just make entertainment. That's why you're there. You're there to entertain people. You're not there to preach a message or change the fucking world. And unfortunately, if you go on Twitter and you look at many of these AAA game developers, they outright state that they want to change the world with their video games. Which means that they're a lost cause. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you like this video. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.